You're listening to Inside the Channel, presented by Get Wireless, a platform built to showcase the voices, stories, and insights shaping the future of the channel. Through conversations with partners, vendors, carriers, and industry leaders, we aim to bring you meaningful perspectives on the trends, challenges, and opportunities driving our ecosystem forward. And now to your host, the Chief Marketing Officer of Get Wireless, Terra Bastolich.
Hey guys, welcome back to Inside the Channel. This is Terra here, and we're joining you live from Channel Partners, our first podcast and platform filming on the road. So we're taking Inside Channel on the road. I've got two great guests with me today. I will let them introduce themselves. Sean, you want to start?
Sure. Sean Cooper, Get Wireless. Been here about 6 or 7 years working on the connectivity team. It's been an awesome ride. I mean, really, I was telling somebody earlier, like when we first kind of started this program, and since then we've probably grown 50 to 100 times, right? We've got a great team of people that support us internally. We kind of touch all aspects of the organization. It's been really great. Got a lot of great momentum with At&t, so we're super excited about that, which is one of my carrier partners that I work with super closely. So, John, I'll pass it on and let you do an intro.
Thank you. Jon White, At&t, have been fortunate enough to be part of At&t's indirect channel for longer than I probably care to admit or care to remember or care to talk about, but maybe we'll get into that. Currently, I am part of our Value-Added Reseller channel and working with distributors like Get Wireless and our reseller partners and Sean's team as well.
Well, we're excited to have you. We've been waiting to get to get you guys on this podcast and talk with each of our, kind of carrier partners. We're seeing a lot of momentum and a lot of shift that's happening. We just did a little segment on kind of what are the trends that we're seeing in the channel. And one of them is this large investment that we're seeing from the carriers coming in. So what we want to talk a lot about that. I think Channel Partners is a big part of that too. It's a good example. It's some of we'll call it the receipts of what you guys are putting in. But first and foremost, when we bring people into this, one of the key core principles of Inside the Channel is getting to know the people that are inside the channel, because we love a lot of the people, majority of the people in this industry. We've met a lot of great people. You have been a huge proponent for us in the program. You've been a huge advocate for Get Wireless. You've been a great human. I think we'd call you a friend as well. Like, it's just been great. So we want to learn a little bit about your journey. And again, you've been in this industry a long time and you have a lot of stories. You've moved around and done a lot of different things, but why don't you tell us how you started and, any interesting like challenges, things, modifications you've had to make through your journey.
Right. So my journey started back in the mid-90s. So I joined At&t in 1996, came over from Sprint. At the time, I was in an inside technical sales role in Sprint. Came over to At&t, and this will date it a little bit. My first role with At&t was supporting our enterprise sales team selling frame relay because it was too complicated for them to sell on their own. Right? It was relatively new at the time. So I did that for a year or two. And then At&t decided that our sales teams can sell frame relay on their own. They don't need our help. But there were these hardware vendors in the market who were also willing to sell At&t's frame relay. And they did need inside technical sales help. So our technical sales center was kind of repurposed to be an inside sales and support center for hardware vendors selling At&t frame relay service. And that was my first step into the indirect channel. And I've been fortunate enough to be part of At&t's indirect channel ever since.
That's, quite a journey. I assume that starts in a small cubicle with a lot of other people around you, right? A little different than what you're doing today and the meetings that you're hosting here this week, probably.
Yeah, you kind of hinted, right? This At&t journey, and you said started what year?
96.
96, right? I think we've said before, you've spent almost half your life with At&t, right?
Right.
It's been a long, long time. So in this industry, right, you see a lot of people changing logos and, kind of coming and going, which is why it's really important to create those relationships. But you're somebody who's been with the carrier for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. From the beginning.
Yeah.
From the beginning. Yeah. I was, dating myself. I forget who I was telling this story to, but I still remember when coming to the office 5 days a week was normal, right? We think about back to the office. We've got my quarter zip uniform on today, but it used to be kind of a shirt and tie, whether you were seeing customers or not. Had big phones on our desks with multiple lines where you left voicemail with fax contracts back and forth to each other versus electronic. It was very different. It's been a fun journey, but I've been fortunate enough to, one, stay with AT&T this entire time, but two, really be part of the indirect channel and the indirect ecosystem. I always tell people I get to work for a Fortune 100 company, but I get to work with every day entrepreneurs, small, medium, and large entrepreneurs who've started their own business. And I kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there something that you're learning now that you feel like, has like you've evolved at this stage of your career? Like something, again, we're not dating anybody, but you got a few miles on you, right? Like you've been able to get through, some evolution in your career. Are there something that you're learning now that you never thought you would?
From a role perspective, I talked about I spent all these years in the channel and certainly understanding different types of channel partners, different ecosystems, et cetera. And then I'd say over the last few years, AT&T has really evolved and throughout the entire company embraced the channel. And the impact that's had on my role has been more, I spend a lot more time now educating other parts of AT&T on the different types of channel partners, how and when to engage, how to leverage their different capabilities, because there are different types. We have, even inside of the AT&T indirect ecosystem, we have a number of different types of indirect programs, different types of partners within those programs. So it's great. It's just different. Educating my colleagues, for example, on the direct sales side, as far as the difference between this program and this program and this partner and that partner.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a different evolution. Like if we have to educate our company on something, it takes a lot less yelling and a lot less things that have to happen because you've got such a large organization that you're trying to change.
Yep.
Okay. And I think that's what we want to talk the most about is we were talking in a recent podcast about we're seeing the evolution of the carriers leaning in. We are seeing it. I think everybody could attribute that this event has gone to the next level. And I think it's because the carriers are here and there's more investment in the channel and they're building programs. And I would say that I think AT&T is actually probably one of the most evolved, I would say, out of all of them. I mean, over at least our experience of working with you guys over the last couple of years. And I know that it took time and we started as a pilot, and I know I poked you hard on that word. You'll never forgive me for that one. But tell us a little bit about like that journey, because I do think that it's been a journey and it's a difference that we've been able to break down some of the stigma around what people thought AT&T was the channel.
I think I'll go back to your initial comments and even the panel that you hosted today. I think certainly all the carriers agree that indirect and channel needs to be a huge part of their distribution strategy, right? We can't get to all of the customers. We can't cover the market with a direct sales team alone. But more importantly, customers want to work with and buy from channel partners. They're the consistent thing in a customer lifecycle. From a carrier perspective, account teams evolve and change and move on. Channel partners stay, right? So I think all the carriers get that. From an AT&T perspective, what I really like is we understand channel partners are different, and we've tried to create programs that allow partners to work with us in the way they want to. So if you're a managed service provider and you want to take AT&T connectivity, bundle it with your managed services, resell that. We have a program for that, right? Partner exchange. If you're a telecom agent and you want to actually sell our connectivity, our fiber service, our mobile service, our IoT, we have a program for that, our alliance channel. If you want to work through a TSD, like Teleris, Intelisys, Avant, one of those, we have a TSD program. And then we have, the program I'm part of that we work with Get Wireless in our Value-Added Reseller program, right? Where we focus on firms who sell connected devices. They can work with us in a co-sell or referral motion. And that journey with this program has been a good one, right? I still remember the meeting. I think it was here, right? It was 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, when we launched the tiny pilot, and you two were appropriately skeptical. Or is AT&T going to stick with this? Are we going to be consistent? Are we going to change our mind? And appropriately so, carriers do. I think we're all consistent in the fact that we're inconsistent. We do change our mind frequently, but I'm really proud that we have stuck with this, right? We started the program, I think we talked about crawl, walk, run approach, and we were very, very deliberate at first. We knew that we didn't know much. We needed to learn and establish credibility, kind of build that foundation. You guys were super helpful.
Which we appreciate a great deal, by the way, to have that opportunity to be kind of voice of VAD and voice of partners. So,
you educated us a lot. Then a year or two later, we took another step, made some hires, made some investments. That paid off. And then we started walking, and really middle to late last year. And again, you were instrumental. I remember we brought you into Dallas a couple times to really speak with our leadership team around, if you're going to invest, this is how. We knew we wanted to invest. We just weren't sure what that would look like. So you really helped shape those investments. We made a number of investments, grew the team. We're building automation, changed the comp plan, educated our direct sales force. We've come out with a number of incentives for resellers and offers for customers, right? And the expectation is we're going to scale the program significantly and really start running together.
Right. So now it's time for the payoff, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's been an exciting journey. You have been there from the beginning, and we attribute a lot of the success and the learnings to this relationship and to your feedback.
So like, if you think about, again, that kind of crawl, walk, run, where do you say you're at now? Like,
we're jogging.
Light jog.
Okay.
We're jogging. And then, so for you to go back even just a couple of years ago, right? When it was a pilot program, and it was kind of like, this is the philosophy, right? We really want to work with value-added resellers. We think we have stickier customers. We think it's a better end customer experience. Okay. But you were kind of flying it a little bit under the radar, right? So now you've, what are we, 3.5, probably 4 years since we met, right? You're at the light jog stage. What does that mean now? So the benefits are, there's been a ton of investment, ton of growth. There's new commission structure, which is fantastic. There's a lot of things that you've done to, again, move in that direction. What's the counter of all those things in terms of like goals, targets? Right. Where does it kind of put pressure on Jon and team?
Well, certainly there's high expectations, right? And I think that, we are thrilled. Given the choice, I'd much rather have in the investment and visibility that we have and the lofty expectations than kind of the under the radar redheaded stepchild. So absolutely, I welcome it. And I will tell you, and I think this from the discussions you've had with the At&t leadership team, it's constantly, what do we need? What do we need to do? Right. And so with that approach comes an expectation, right? And again, I believe in it though. I believe that we're better together. I believe that when the At&t sales teams work with our reseller partners and our distributor partners, we can deliver better solutions to customers and we can provide a better customer experience. It's a real differentiator in the market, right? Mobility itself has become too price focused. It's a race to the floor. It's about price. This partnership really makes it more about solution and experience. And I think that's better for certainly At&t. I think it's better for our reseller partners. And most importantly, I really think it's better for our customers rather than just looking for what is the cheapest solution. It's what is the best solution. And again, I don't think At&t can deliver that by ourselves. And I don't think your reseller partners can deliver it by ourselves. But when we work together, we often talk about pieces of a puzzle. It's a puzzle coming together, kind of naturally fits. Right? Your partners really know software, application, devices, managed services. All of the solutions that they're creating also require connectivity. That's what we know. And when we work together, I really think it's better for both of us. It's a unique partnership where each of us, At&t and our reseller and distributor partners, we get to do what we do best. It's complementary, right? We just do it together and the customer benefits.
Right. When you launched this program too, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but did you feel like you had to do a little bit of myth busting about what it's been like for VARs to work with At&t in the past, right? Were there, just as you kind of launched this program and moved into this kind of collaborative co-sell model where you, again, focus on what you're good at, do you feel like you had to mend any fences or talk about past programs?
Yeah, we did. I think certainly, I think most stereotypes and myths have at least a foundation of truth, right?
Mhm.
They're usually, it's an exaggerated
Right.
truth,
Right.
right? So I think the stereotype that we had to kind of change was AT&T is a direct sales centric culture that prefers to do everything internally, right?
Mhm.
And historically, if we go back quite a ways, I think there's certainly some truth to that, right? But that's been evolving and changing over time, and it's certainly accelerated dramatically the last few years, where we've become indirect is absolutely key across every segment of our business. Every segment has their own indirect strategy. And we have made conscious decisions that what we do really well is connectivity, right? Fiber and mobile connectivity. That's our core
Mhm.
competency. So we've kind of backed off a little bit of let's try to do everything a customer needs. And that everything really competed in many cases with what the reseller community does, whether it was devices or services or things like that. Now, AT&T is a big ship, right? It's an ocean liner, doesn't turn on a dime, but you guys have seen this gradual turn over the last 2, 3, 4 years, which has really been accelerated over probably the last 12 to 18 months, where, there's now how can we leverage resellers for this? How can we leverage resellers for that? How can we do this differently? How can we develop an indirect strategy in the federal government segment, which historically was direct only, right? How can we leverage resellers here? So it's as a kind of a legacy indirect guy, it's
Right.
so exciting to be part of the
I mean, those
evolution.
are big steps,
Yeah.
right? When you acknowledge as a carrier that there's maybe that we've gotten away from our core competency, right? And some things that we've done that maybe have been distractions to the main thing. But also when you start to open up E-rate, federal, right? To let partners play in that space with AT&T, those are some pretty big steps, right? What do you feel like when you talk about, again, this kind of 3-4 year path that you've been on, but maybe things have really started to turn and accelerate 12 to 18 months ago? Was there something that was the jumping off point or really the impetus behind that kind of, again, rapid acceleration and adoption through the AT&T indirect channel with leadership?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was really good fortune relative to timing, right? So if we think about our value-added reseller program and our path, right, we were kind of going from that crawl, walk, run, and building on it and really establishing momentum and success at every stage. In parallel to that, I think the bigger, broader AT&T was making a couple shifts. One, where we narrow our focus on connectivity, and two, where we really make the entire indirect ecosystem a big part of our distribution strategy. So it was kind of the coming together of a lot of things and great timing for us. Certainly our value-added reseller program picked up on a lot of the momentum, just narrowing focus on connectivity. That's perfect. Now we stop competing with resellers for devices. We start leveraging their capabilities. The bigger, broader shift to indirect allowed us to get a lot of investment in the way of people and tools and things like that to make us easier to work with from a reseller perspective. So sometimes it's a little bit of luck and good fortune combined with a lot
The
of
right
hard work.
strategy at the
Right.
right time.
And you stay the course, right? Like it takes time. You've got to have the runway to build it. Your leadership had to allow you to crawl around for a while before you got to a place where they could, start to say like, we think this is success, right? Or we're leaning towards success. I guess as far as partners that you obviously have partners in the program today. A lot of them work with us, but are there partners that you're specifically looking for out there? Are there partners that you kind of need in the ecosystem? I guess talk to anybody that's out there that doesn't have that relationship now and what that can mean to them.
Certainly, I think for partners that aren't working with us today, right, there's generally a reason. A lot of times it was a bad experience historically or something like that. So for those types of partners, I would certainly encourage them to check out kind of the new AT&T. We are a lot different than we were a few years ago. We'd love to work with them. Our approach with new partners is always let's understand each other and really find out what that partner does really well right? Whether it's a specific solution, a specific vertical, a specific geography. Let's go have some success together in a very targeted way and then build on that, right? But as far as the types of partners, I don't think we're not being specific or picky. I mean, certainly we love router focused partners. Fixed wireless is a huge part of our business and what we're doing, but we're open to, whether you're focused in healthcare or transportation or public safety. We've got a big ecosystem that we're looking to fill with lots of partners.
If you're kind of thinking about the partners that you work with today, right? And so this again has been, we're in light jog status, and we've got some great partners that work with Get Wireless and some other partners in your program. And again, just like you can kind of, one of the great things about this, right, is again, you really get to focus on what you're expert in, whether that's hardware, services, implementation, whatever it may be, right? Different verticals, there's all sorts of opportunities. But when you kind of think about your partner community today that's working in your program, right? Supported by your team, working with your sellers. If you think forward 12 to 18 months, are there, like, where do you see that going? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, how would you like to see partners focused? And are there things in your, like, from solutions that are non-stock hardware around cellular? Do you feel like you're missing somebody today, or maybe you're not gaining as much traction in a specific vertical?
I don't know that we're missing anybody or a specific vertical. I think what we'd like to see is really more coordination between OEM, reseller, and distributor. It's an ecosystem. And I think when we all come together intentionally,
right,
it's much more powerful. I feel in many cases, we're working together in an unintentional way, right? But when we all get together and say, let's go do this very specific thing, whether it's in public safety or healthcare or transportation or whatever. And it's often, we can't do it. One of us can't do it. In many cases, two of us. In many cases, it needs all of us, right? The OEM's got to be on board. The Get Wireless has got to be on board. The reseller community's got to be on board, and the carrier's got to be on board. But when we get input from everyone and come up with offers and strategies and things like that, again, the customer is the one that benefits, which allows all of us to benefit. So I think that's where, and we're starting to do it, right? I think that's kind of our next step as we talk about that crawl, walk, run, is we've done a really nice job of listening to the distributors like Get Wireless and the resellers. We still have a lot to learn on our OEM relationships and how we fold those in and really unleash the full power of this ecosystem.
Right. Yeah. Is there, when you kind of talk about that, I first of all, I completely agree, right? I think, like, for me, when I hear you say something like that too, I think about FWA, right? I think about what are some of the things you're doing from a parity perspective to create parity in the channel. I think about some of the things that you're doing from a commission and subsidy perspective. What I think maybe we haven't done well from the disti, VAR, and OEM side is create some of those bundles so that we can go and sell them. And so it's something that's really easy to digest for your sales organization too, right? And then a couple of wins, and now you've got something that you can build off of.
Right. I think the most powerful bundle is really conceived and created with all parties involved. It's where we miss is when we think we know everything. Right. So we're going to do this, and everybody's going to like it.
Right.
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 And instead, it's going to the reseller and the distributor and the OEM, and to really say, what can we do together? And then, as importantly, great ideas, but doesn't work.
Right.
How do we operationalize it?
Right. Right.
We've got a lot of great ideas that we couldn't figure out how to operationalize. And that, again, can't be created in a vacuum. All parties have to be part of that really from the beginning.
That's a huge value, even beyond the commission dollars. I mean, commission dollars, incentives, they're meaningful. If anybody doesn't know what those are today, you're leaving some money on the table. Right. But there's also a big picture too, where we unlock opportunities with the carriers close at 40% or greater in our statistics. That's insane. I can't buy a marketing program of any sort that will close at that level. So when you work, it will help you grow your business, hands down.
And I think that's one of the big learnings for me in this part of the kind of the reseller distributor ecosystem was commission dollars are important, but what's most important is how can this relationship help me be more successful in my core business? Right? How can it generate more opportunities for me? How can it help me close more of what's important to me? Right? And I think that's the power of this relationship is certainly, just as you said, as the reseller starts working with the carrier, all of a sudden that's going to lead to more router opportunities for the reseller. Yeah. For the carrier, it's going to lead to better customer experience, more sales.
Yeah. More connections.
So this win-win.
Yeah. More renewals. I mean, all of the pieces that kind of come with that. So there's always this like, okay, well, we know they're not going to sell against us now, but am I going to let them sell with me? And that's exactly it. And it should be a sell with model. Yep. That's the idea. And as people start to embrace it, they're seeing and we're building trust. And I think that's what we said from the very beginning is we need to help build that trust inside of the community. And Sean and his team is always willing to be right in that middle and make sure everybody's trusting each other. And
for sure. I don't want to put you on the spot again. I already said that, but I will say I'm hearing, like we have so many meetings this week with At&t teams and our value-added resellers, right? I really think like for the channel partners, we have turned a massive corner. They want to work with At&t. They see the value. The program is working with our VAR community. When you think about that from your side of the fence, do you have a success story or just kind of your thoughts around that same thing internally? Are At&t sellers now kind of looking at this going, man, this is great. These guys are experts. It's bilateral lead share. You know, they keep me off the day one technical sales call. Like I should have had a VAR strategy years ago. What have I been doing? Are you feeling that on your side of the fence?
We are, and it's fantastic, right? Whether it's, you know, in our small business space, where again they're selling fixed wireless and they were sourcing routers internally, and there was a high level of cancel or disconnect or breakage.
A drop ship is not maybe what you exactly want to do with that scenario.
And all of a sudden they've been able to find a reseller in their market that's really focused in this space and will help them. And they're seeing not only are they more successful, but they don't have the headaches on the back end. They don't have customers canceling, et cetera.
Right.
We're seeing that through public sector, where I know you're feeling a little bit of as well, where these teams are really fully embracing channel partners and how to go, whether it's going to events or seminars or running bundles or different things like that. Even in our federal government space, which honestly I was a little skeptical in just how much success we'd see here. We've seen a lot of success where resellers are positioned within certain agencies, and we were there too. We weren't working together, right? And now that we've come together, projects are moving faster, projects are moving better, and we're having more success. Our enterprise space, right? Where these are the top 1,000 accounts inside of At&t. These account teams have a very small group of customers that honestly, they smother, right? But as we've exposed our reseller capabilities to our enterprise team, and these companies are able to come in and help them solve problems, and they may or may not be directly related to connectivity.
Right.
But it
unlocks opportunity.
As we start working together, it unlocks more and more opportunity. So we've seen success up and down our segment stack from a customer perspective. And it's really starting to spread, right? That momentum, people start telling, hey, have you worked with this reseller? They can do that.
Right.
And it's exciting.
So the word of mouth is growing and it is working, right? And we really are. We're feeling the momentum. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I think this event is a very good example of feeling that momentum. Yeah. There's a lot of that happening. And I think everybody has the drinking the Kool-Aid this week. Everybody's got a lot of good plans coming out of it. So I guess I'll ask you one last thing, Jon. Just is there anything else that, channel community, ecosystem partners, anybody that's listening to this would want to know as we kind of roll out of channel partners and roll out of this period of time and what to expect, or as you guys kind of keep on your journey and start running marathons?
Yeah. So I would say if a partner's not working with us today for whatever reason, I'd encourage them to give us a try. Right? We've certainly changed. AT&T just as an entire company is very, very indirect focused, very, very partner friendly. And Terry, you said something earlier. It is so easy, right? The co-seller referral model. There's not a learning curve, right? The AT&T team within Get Wireless makes everything super easy from a reseller perspective. And then when we're working opportunities together, we're really just asking the reseller to do their thing, right? Do what they do best.
Right.
Just do it with us. Let us work together. We'll do what we do best. Reseller does what they do best. Customer benefits. That's kind of our motto. And again, the Get Wireless teams is fantastic and can help them get onboarded and start working with us.
Listen, I want to say thank you. First of all, thanks for being here. You've been a great partner. We really appreciate the opportunity to give feedback, right? Feedback, which, by the way, was requested by you, which takes some humility as when you're the carrier to come to a VAD or a reseller and say, hey, tell us how this should be and how we should build this. So we really appreciate that. Maybe just last thing to touch on. I don't know if we've really had an opportunity so far, but I want you to get a chance to just mention, you talk high level investments, but there's been so much growth on your team. There's new commission structures. There's all these sorts of things. So I just wanted to give you the opportunity to just kind of plug some of the things that have happened so recently, including like the commission change I mentioned earlier.
I think kind of tactically, a lot of things we've done, we've simplified and enhanced our compensation, right? We've come out with really customer focused, I'll call them incentives for our customers to buy devices from resellers, something that we've never done before. Certainly, we've got a lot of incentives in place for our reseller community as well. We've grown our team significantly.
Right. The one thing that made me think of this is a few minutes ago when you mentioned public sector, which is one of the spots that we do really well, right? We've got a great portfolio. We've got a ton of capable value-added resellers, but you've also got people on your team that are focused around escalating those VARs in the public sector space, right? So we're starting to feel some of that on our team. And
dedicated public
they're doing a great job, people, right?
So a lot of things, but I think really the most important thing we've done, and Terra touched on a number of times, is we've changed the culture, right, with our direct sales team, really looking to embrace and engage resellers. And I think that's the biggest thing that we've done is really looking for, how can I engage a reseller here to help? Is there a reseller in this account that I can work with, right? And that, if we would have done and you guys were great telling us this, you can do all of these things, but if you don't change this culture, they're not really going to matter.
Right.
So we have worked hard changing and educating our direct sales teams and doing all these other things to try to enable that reseller success. So we're certainly excited about it. I always tell you guys, the worst thing we can do, right? AT&T certainly wants to invest and grow this program. If we do all these things, and then I come back 6 months, 12 months from now, and I'm patting myself on the back saying, look at all the things we've done. And you and the reseller say, well, that's interesting, but that's not really what we wanted.
Right.
You didn't do any of the things we wanted, right? So
we're in big trouble.
It's important. I'm in big trouble. It's important that if we're making investments, we're doing them in a meaningful way that are going to be meaningful to this community. And that's the listening part that we've tried to do. Honestly, it's selfish. It says, if we're going to go spend money and do this, we'd like a return. So we want to spend it how it will matter. You guys know better than us. How will this matter? What's meaningful?
Well, I appreciate it. You guys so far have done a great job. And again, we appreciate the opportunity to have the seat at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for making us a part of the journey, listening to us. I think that's the most important piece in any relationship. And in the channel community, it's super important that you listen and you treat partners like customers, because that's what they are. Right. And I think you guys have done a great job so far, and we're excited to stay on that journey, and we'll continue to give you feedback, unsolicited or solicited. We will give you that feedback.
We're good at that.
If I don't say it, it's usually written on my face. So we appreciate that relationship, and that's the stuff because we trust you. We really have built this great relationship too with you, everybody on the team. Just great people to do business with, great people to have in the channel community. And that's really what this is about. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the channel partners.
We can see each other in Kansas City anytime.
It's fun.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.